Come and get started on a new mission, a new direction, a new intention. Welcome to 5.8G Alive at Connections 50 Plus. I am Terri and Joseph Brathwaite.
And I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, catering to all your prospects in the third act of life.
Economic well-being, social gratification, personal fulfillment.
Join us on Wednesday at 6 p.m. on Connections 50 Plus Facebook page, YouTube channel,
and on Gael the Caribbean.
Hi everyone, welcome to Connections 50 Plus 5.8G Alive. I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, one of the co-creators of Connections 50 Plus, and as usual with me is my colleague.
Hello everyone, good evening. I am Terri and Joseph Brathwaite, the other co-creator of this great thing called 5.8G Alive, delivered by Connections 50 Plus. Jennifer, September is halfway through, almost.
Yep.
How are you?
I am doing great. I'm listening here to the radio in the morning and they all ready for Christmas, counting down the days to Christmas. So September is a nice month. September is a month where we're looking at the last quarter coming up. And, you know, you're planning not just for Christmas, but looking to see what the new year will bring. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Having fun, having life. I am settled back at home now. And
welcome back from your holiday.
Well, we never went anywhere. We were here all the time. As I said last week, it just goes to show what happens with technology. But it's good to be back and, you know, thinking about how, you know, Jennifer, it's so nice sometimes to take time to sit back and really reflect. You don't have to go away to do it. Sometimes you just need to get quiet and do it. But it's so important to step away from the hustle and bustle and the everybody. And I think whenever you could do that, it's a vacation. Even if it means lock yourself in a room and
take time out. Yes.
It is very, very important. So I'm reinvigorated. I'm excited. I'm all set. So, and I know you are because you settle and you fix a house. And
I am settled.
Doing all kinds of things. Oh gosh. But Jen, we have something excited. I mean, I'm excited about this new theme that we've started, where we are looking at life beyond the Jubilee, those 60 years and beyond, and all the issues. And after that very, very insightful discussion with Mrs. Elvie Fritz last week, you know, I am pumped to go. And I know we have a pretty interesting topic to discuss today. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's get into being in tune today. So viewers, meet us on the other side of this and let's get to it. Okay, so viewers, we have been talking about this beyond the Jubilee, given that I said ourselves and Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica celebrated 60 years. In London, the world is seeing the transition of a significant one stage to the other, and it's so beautiful and seamless, you know, and we have to recognize that in our life, the same thing has to happen. Mm-hmm. And we recently came across an article, and I have to thank my cousin, Simone, for bringing that to our attention. Thank you, Simone. I know you're a listener. And the topic, the title of the article is, My Mom Has No Friends, the Loneliness of Growing Older Made Bearable with Playdates. And Jennifer, we both read the article and saw that this is something that fits very nicely into our Beyond the Jubilee theme. Mm-hmm. And we want to discuss it today. So, Jen, what was that article about? What did you get?
You know, what I got, it was so applicable to what we are doing and to our cohort. And when I read it, what came about is really, I would say, guidelines to life, as you say, life beyond the Golden Jubilee. Because in that particular article, the writer was speaking about her mom who's 80. And it reminded me because last week when we had Mrs. Fritz at 89, sharing with us what it's like to be when you reach that stage, I found, and the writer being her daughter was able to give that story from her point of view.
Yeah.
And I found that was great, which is really how, you know, we tend to, and that is on the children side, tend to take the parents for granted. And I think both mothers and fathers, remembering them, how they were very strong in the days, doing all the things that they had to do for them, and assume that they could continue living their life independently without help. All right. However, certain challenges comes up, and if they are not aware, if you're not in sync with your parents or with the elders, then you wouldn't be aware of what they're going through, you know. And it is only when they may get very ill or go into depression that it may hit you that, hey, you know, I need to step in there. So the story for me, the story that was shared by the daughter was really saying that, look, here's my mom who's very active and is enjoying life and having a husband and a lot of friends and entertaining. And with the death of her husband and having to make the choice of moving, etc. And after the pandemic, she found that all the friends she had, those who either passed or those who fearful or ill, etc., she found herself very lonely. And I remember, Terri, and in one of our shows, we had, I can't remember who was our guest then, but they spoke, I think was Dr. Barnes, when she spoke about loneliness and how you address, you know, loneliness. And
Dr. Dolly also spoke about that.
Yes,
quite a lot of detail.
and it is not
going.
yeah, and it's not to wait until you reach 80 to reach that fourth stage, but from now to and last week again that came out, for us to maintain our friends, not because we have a spouse and we say, okay, well, we have a spouse, our life is just both of us. But even with your spouse, whether male or female, we talk about, any couple should also look at friends of the, you know, include friends in their socialization, etc. So, you know, there are a lot of different aspects of this story, but I just summed it up in this.
Just to do credits and so on, this we are talking about an article that appeared in New York Magazine, The Cut, and it was the August 5th edition, August 5th, 2022 edition, and the author is Monica Corcoran Harrell. So just so that we do our
credit, yes.
Yes. You know, and the thing, I think you summed that up very, very well, Jennifer. And the thing is, we could be, the author was speaking about her mother. And when I read it, because we're both in positions now where we have varying levels of responsibility for a parent, but I applied it to my own life because we are 50 plus, 60 plus, and 70 plus. Increasingly, we are finding our friends, if they're not passing on, then because of retirement, because of migration, because of death of spouse, divorce, we are finding that the people, even as we hang around within our third act, we're not even talking about the second act people. We are increasingly becoming separate from our friends. It's a physical separation, it's a life separation. And we could very easily end up in our next decade, whether for a 50-year-old in the 60s or 60-year-old in the 70s or 70-year-old in the 80s, very much like this person, my mom has no friends, and I will replace my mom with, I have no friends.
Yeah.
And facing isolation, especially when you're accustomed to being a vibrant, vivacious person, active, going to shows, doing things, being around people, and suddenly you find yourself with someone, whether it's a child or somebody else, making arrangements for your life. So you got the scaled down place to stay in. You have a range of activities or service providers coming to do the things that you can't do. But then you sit down and you realize the people I used to share things with and have fun with are not there. And Jennifer, I know you made mention of the fact that the statistics show that that kind of isolation and loneliness results in significant physical health problems for us. And perhaps you could describe some of them.
You know, let me start by saying, situations, only negative situations like that, where it's illness, death, anything like that, especially when you're going old, we tend not to want to either talk about it or think about it. Understand? Because there's a belief that if you talk about it, and I always say I came out of the insurance industry, and when you talk to people about death, they don't want to hear anything about it, you know, or how to make plans, last expenses, etc. So like that talk is taboo. But we need to understand that it's a reality for us. And the only way to address it, only way to deal with it is by addressing it. Okay? And I believe it is calls for open discussion, open and honest discussion about the likelihood of things. And we can use, we look around us, we look at our friends, you know, sometimes you hear someone die suddenly and you say, oh, they were doing so good, how they died suddenly. Could be an accident, could be heart attack. We are at this stage prone to certain type of illnesses and situations. So I would think that we need to address it now. We need, like what we're doing here, chat about it, be open on it, not feeling that it's taboo to discuss it. And if you discuss it, something would happen, you know. And the situation that was mentioned in the writer's experience is similar to what any one of us will experience. You have the death of a spouse. So you have situations where you move from the second act where you're all caught up with family, etc. The children married or moved out, and you're there with your spouse, those who have a companion with them, living with them. And you tend to wrap your life around that spouse or that partner. And when something happens, if it's death, disability, or severe illness, you feel lost. And again, you go more into feeling that your whole life now have to take care of that person. You become like a martyr doing everything. And that is because you don't want to deal with other life issues. So you have that, you have other type of separation where at that stage in life when you figured you have already settled in and you know, this is where you're going to live for the rest of your life, you may have to move. And that was one of the situations we brought up, where in that writer's case, your mom has to move. And I know about that. where you didn't plan to move and a situation happens and you say, no, boy, you have to leave your house now and either go live with your children or get a smaller place. So move out of the area where you're accustomed and you had all your friends, and that's happened. And when you move away, you have to form new friends. And friendship, again, there is, the statistics show that it's not easy to make friends, especially where you isolated yourself from before. So you have a lot of scenarios like that, which really we could address prior to it happening. We could prepare for it. We could prepare for it. That's what I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think one of the significant things that came out very often, we link relationships to our spouse, and I really have to check myself sometimes, because I tend to diminish the role of a spouse. And let me be clear here. All of us know that we have lifelong partners, but all of us will also admit that at our stage, those lifelong partners have a role to play, but a lot of the energy and life force comes from your friends, separate and apart from that life partner. And one of the things that came out to me in this article is that her mother always had a vibrant social life. And even when the spouse died, there was one reaction there. But when that circle of friends started to dwindle and die for whatever reasons, come out of her life, it seemed as though her own life experience drew out. And I think many of us can identify, men and women, in the 5.8G, that our friends are a very, very important part of our living, of our social network. It is not everywhere you want to go and be with the spouse. I'm not diminishing the role of the spouse, but here we are talking about the role of friends to give you a spark, do that extra special something, that little outing, that little special, go out and have go to a show, go to a movie, just go in a park, have a picnic, and then you come back home to the partner or the children or whoever it is. And when her friend network, when her tribe of friends passed on, and she remained isolated, to me, there were two types of grief. There's the grief of the spouse passing, and I think she also had a child passing, but there was the daughter who was recognizing that there was an energy and a spark that her mom had when she was with her friends that was missing. And in her senior years, she realized, my mom has no friends. And it really affected her quality of life, you know? So, and I think 95% of our listeners will identify with that need for a network of friends, separate and apart from, parallel to, and coexisting with a life partner or children, to make that life full. And as we go older and that network begins to shrink, we have a concern at the back of our minds that, as you said, we don't discuss. We don't discuss the fear of the loneliness and loneliness that we feel because that friend network is going. Jennifer, you yourself talk about how many friends you've lost in the last few years.
Wow. And Terri, let me just, you said something. I have found that those of us in the cohort who has a partner or adult children tend to, that to me, they use, that is their tribe then. And they do not see the need for any outside, for fear of all different reasons, right? And it's because when we hold on to our children for companionship or the grants, some of us, you know, you spend your whole life with the grants. And if you, and I know for a fact that if you invite persons who think like that, or they will tell you, they don't have time. They don't have time because they have to see about the grants. They don't have time because their spouse, so, and I'm speaking here, men or women, right? Don't want them to go anywhere. And it is really about understanding that what you call, and it's not, we're not saying loneliness because they don't see themselves as lonely, but we talk about aloneness down the road there. A friend remarked to me, not very recently, she's on to her, since I know, on to her third marriage, and going through that period of, the husband was ill, and she was talking to me and saying, wow, what would happen to her if he should die? And mentioned again, she don't have many friends. She have her children there, but they are all on their own. And she said to me, but Jennifer, you are lucky. You spend time to develop friendships. That is what she said. And when she said it like that, I didn't go out there with that thinking of developing friends, having friends to my down the road. To me, I always saw the importance of having a tribe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I was married or the children, I always saw the importance of having a tribe. And now at this stage, it really shows the importance of that. And it doesn't mean visiting the person every day in your house, they're always in your house, or talking to them on the phone every day. But there are times, critical times in your life where you need that sounding board, you need that and I just saying shoulder to cry on, but you know, that empathy, somebody who understands not that your partner will do that or your friend, but you need somebody outside. Yeah. Because the situation you're in, maybe as a result of you not being happy with a relationship, whatever is going on. You understand?
Then, let's simplify this. Let's leave the married people alone. Let's leave the people with a living spouse alone. Because there are many people who, I understand what you're talking about. It's like, what are you all trying to say? My spouse is not my friend. And
right, that's why we have to underline and say,
and right now,
that we are saying. That
and I will say, leave the people who are in those situations. All right, so this doesn't refer to you as much. And there are people who would be happy like that. But there are many people at this stage who are not in a relationship like that, who live alone, who are divorced, widowed, for whatever reason, their life partner is not with them, and they find that that social network of friends is depleting, whether the COVID take them, they migrate, they went to live nearer to the children, illness, they become ill and you can't play mass with them again. They have injuries to their limbs, they're not as mobile, they can't get up and go to a show like they used to. So that's the cohort that we're focusing on now. Because if I would use some of the statistics quoted in that article, it said that social isolation for people over 50 is correlated with a 50% increased risk of dementia. All right, and a 32% increased risk of stroke. Loneliness is also associated with higher rates of anxiety, depression, and suicide. So when we look at that and we take this spouse out of the question, we really have to come into this stage of life. If, yes, our cohort is nearing the end, we have to learn to make friends now as grown-up people. And part of the problem the article pointed out is that making friends is a difficult thing. And we know that we would have spent the last 2 years raising the household, perfecting the careers. Time would not have gone into making friends. And I think the article also said that it takes an average of 50 hours to make a casual friend and 200 hours to form a close bond with someone. 50 hours for a casual friend.
Yeah.
As exposure for over 2 days. And 200 hours. And for many of us who live alone and don't socialize because we have nobody to go out with. We don't want to go to the cinema alone. We don't want to buy a ticket to go to the show alone. We have all those health risks that will probably face us if we do not face the reality that we have to learn to make friends at this 50 plus, 60 plus, 70 plus, 80 plus age if we are to enjoy life beyond our Jubilee years. And as I said, the ones with spouses who are fine, not relevant to you. But
You know, I still,
yeah.
my thing with that one, Terri, and when you say not relevant, I don't expect, and I just want to be very clear, it's not that person's leaving their spouse home and like how the men is doing. Leave your home and go. I'm not advocating anything like that. What I'm saying is, in terms of sharing and chatting and saying, listen, let's look at what could happen, you know, if one of us should go. You need to have friends. Let us also have include other couple or somebody to come home for to dinner or to play cards or to do something. So let me just clear that up. It is just mean starting, and you said it just now, starting that process of having friends.
Yeah.
You know, and it don't have to be this big. You start now, we'll go along. And in the article, coming down to the end of the story, where the daughter mentioned she has now become her mother's friend because they were living far apart, and she now appreciates and trying to do things for the mom, which I could also understand, because I remember when my mother, well, when she met, she was still in a, let's see, 1890s, just not that long ago. She liked going to shows. And she has a friend who's similar to her, like going to shows. And I used to get the tickets from a friend when they have the marionettes and those shows at the Queen's Hall. And I will get the tickets, and her friend's son will do the drop-in and the picking back up. So it's too for us to be, and I'm saying this for the younger ones, or even, you know, like my situation here, where you can do things to help with that loneliness. But I come back to, we need to be open and talking. Yeah. We need to be ourselves and say what we like to do, what we would like to do. Because if we don't say, as she also mentioned, Autumn mentioned, they may not know, they may still see us as being this all active, making decisions, being responsible, because we are not saying anything.
And I think that is where the gist of it is. We are accustomed to, and I don't know where the accustomedness comes from, having other people see about those things for us. And that probably comes from the comfort of spending a lot of time in a committed relationship, or having children who were dependent on you. But you've come to the stage where, and we ourselves do it for our parents. we do it for
Yeah.
our children. And if we focus on us as a cohort, our circle of friends is diminishing. There is no one to do that for you. Your children are not going to do it. They're not going to arrange social engagements for you. Our children, I don't think they're that kind of children. And our parents are looking at us to do it for them. So who does it for us? And I think what I got from that, this author's, the author as a daughter set things up to cause her mother to make friends. But I am saying that we have to take our agency and do that ourselves. And you are right. The first thing we have to do is admit that, hey, my circle of friends is diminishing.
Yeah.
And I am not as active as I used to be because I don't have a partner to go with. And I mean a partner here, not a partner. Okay.
Yeah.
And that you don't know how to make friends, because the last time you made a new friend, it was easy. It was in the workspace, and you got the 250 hours real easy because you were working together, or in your community, your neighborhood, and you lived there for 30, 40 years. But now you've moved to a smaller place, so you don't have 30 years. Or it may have been people that you know from childhood who have come back. So when you're starting at zero and you need to develop new relationships, a lot of us, Jennifer, prefer to sit quietly at home by ourselves because we're too embarrassed to say we have no friends and we have nobody to go out with.
And it's a matter of trust, and we are afraid of the crime. We are afraid of so
Every
many
excuse
things.
is given. Mhm.
Yes, it's really
Every
exclusive.
excuse is given. Because I will say this, there is crime, but look around your area. How many of your friends have been abducted or murdered? I mean, I'm not trying to trivialize it, but
No,
we
but
put things in place to mitigate against that. That doesn't cause you to stay indoors forever.
the fact that what is very difficult, I found, for people is that making that move. They're not used to, we talk about socialization, but many of us, just as we mentioned earlier, spend all our lives working and with the family, and really real socializing, we don't. You would complain you're not going to dinner that costs too much. You're not going to part that is not for you. And then we have to be careful how we are very critical of people. The judgment. So at that stage, the second act, we may not go to certain places or hang with certain people because they are not at the status level, at that status quo. So you wouldn't be seen hanging with a certain group. So we have all these things to deal with. And Mrs. Fritz said it last week. When you move on to this other stage, they have nothing about status quo and all that, It's about your happiness. Yeah. And if you go to yourself and say, what do you like to do? What do you really like to do? You may not like, and we're not talking, of course, of the what we would call the real fets, and we're not talking about that. People, you like to go to the shows, you like to go to the beach, you just like to go for walks, simple things. Simple things. We're not talking about visiting. You out.
Remember, we talked about visiting people, just visiting Sunday evening.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm talking about daytime activities because I always say very sure I am not a nighttime person. So I'm not talking about you going out and staying out late at all. But,
even going shopping, window shopping, walk through the mall and see what's there. A lot of us would love to do those things. And there's another point that the article raised. The daughter talked about when her mother became a widow. And for those of us who are single, not us, people who are single, I swear,
Us, me.
myself, I have to watch
Not her, not Terri and me.
I'm the married one. For people who are single, if your social group before was made up of a series of couples and you are suddenly single, it happens, you immediately lose your social group, you know. Because what we're doing with this man or woman hanging off without an owner, you know, you have no owner. So it's an odd number of chairs around the table, it's an odd number of everything. And I don't go to the area that a single woman or a single man is a threat to couples. I don't,
but they do have
at all.
Couples, they do have the wives club where the wives get together. So
yeah, but it is some groups find it difficult because at the end of the day, most social interactions, people end up, whether you go, you might end up paired off or something like that. So you are the one hanging off with no owner and no place. So it is also important to recognize that we need to keep our friend-making skills sharp, because as we go along in life, we are not going to, our parents, we won't be able to make play dates for our parents forever. They'll get a stage where they can't do it again. Our children are going to be very busy with their lives. And we will be sitting here on the third act, full of energy, full of vibe, looking good, all dressed up with nowhere to go because we have no friends and we are afraid, unwilling, unable to make new friends. We don't want to put in the 50 hours for a casual friend and the 200 hours for a close friend. And I think that's the issue we must face as we prepare for life beyond our Jubilee.
You know, some of us do it by joining groups, because if you join in group, you know, and you join a group doing the activities that you like, and it keeps you very active, and that way they form their friends. So that's great for that group. But there are so many who not joining any group, not participating in any sort of activities, not willing to go out there to do a course because they feel they're too old. You know, Mrs. Fritz mentioned after she retired at that age, she loved to bake and she went to do baking. You know, from being a vice principal, she's okay. She has no problem going to do baking in the bakery because that's what she likes. She has passed that stage of teaching she still continues to volunteer. But the fact is, nothing is wrong in pursuing your goals, things that you always like to do, but was unable to do it because of either family, you know, you have your family to deal with, etc. But some of us don't even want to do that because we feel it might be beneath us to do certain courses. You know?
Jennifer, there are people who believe continuous education or continual education must look like this. So
Yes.
If the last thing was primary, I need to go to secondary. If it was secondary, I need to
have to be a certification, something.
And people don't realize that continuing education is any new learning. It could be skills, it could be painting, it could be
anything.
So many things. And it is in that continual learning we get new skills, we meet new and different people, and we make new friends. So when you're thinking, oh, I have a master's, or I have a bachelor's, or I was a this and I was a that, why am I going to join a YTEP course in the community center?
Yes. Yeah. No, that's true. That's true. It
makes no sense. But you're sitting down home alone doing nothing.
Yeah, because you don't want to mix with, we still have that head. You don't want to mix with those people because you feel they are a lower strata than you, you know? So this it's a change of mindset as we get older and to prepare for that next act, that we need to understand and learn from others, learn from the situation. And as you mentioned, Terry, and I had in the article, the daughter just said, mother must had about 20 friends, and within about after the pandemic, she had none and she had to move, which made it worse. And I could understand that, because I was checking recently. I mean, how many friends I've lost? I mean, just before the pandemic, during the pandemic, and I am checking, and I felt I had a lot of friends, and I check myself and say, hey, anything could happen to any, you know, and they don't have to be ill for a while. Next thing, somebody get a heart attack and that's it.
Jennifer, let me repeat these statistics. Social isolation for people over 50 is correlated with a 50% increased risk of dementia, according to the Center for Disease Control, a 32% increased risk of stroke. Loneliness is associated with higher rates of anxiety, depression, and suicide. So if we know, they even said prolonged isolation is a health risk at the level of smoking. We cut out smoking, we walk in, we eat in well to make sure that we extend our lives. But we are afraid, ashamed to go out and admit to someone that I'm trying to make new friends, because what? You're afraid they won't want to be friends with you?
And I want to say another thing, and you said it, Terry. We fear that rejection. And then it's what you want out of that friendship, how you see, where you see that friendship going, because you have to be careful when people say, when we talk about friendship, it's how they see that, it's what they're thinking. And it's not that you want that person to do anything for you. It's not about that. It's about you making yourself happy, making that person happy by doing the things you all both like. So it's not just, and that in the last aspect of the article, when the daughter was trying to see if she can get a friend circle for the mom. Not everybody will be a friend. Or not everybody wants to be a friend.
But the act of interacting with people on a regular basis may pop up some friends.
And I say, don't take it personal. But that is, I mean, that is a difficult thing, Terry, for them not to take it personal. Because you know why? We're very judgmental. So my suggestion is, what type of friend would you like? What qualities you want in a friend? You know, you have to think about that too. If I want to hang with somebody, what type of person I want it? Would I want somebody who very loud and out there? Would I want somebody more passive? Would I want somebody who loves to go to the beach? Because if I'm your friend and we do not share the same hobbies or joys or likes, then why am I your
Then
friend?
we wouldn't be friends.
Right.
But the important thing is you have to start going and mixing to meet people to be able to determine if there are possible friendships.
No, but you're going knowing that this is the kind of friend you're looking at. This is the type of person. So, and you could observe when you walk into a room, just from observation, sometimes you can have an idea. And the other thing is, how do you introduce yourself? How do you start by, and my very, very good friend from umpteen years now, we are friends over, definitely over 30 years. Our friendship started like that, where we went to I can't remember what was the function or something, and we just happened to be chatting. And she said, you know, she liked going out, but she didn't have friends to go out with. And if I go out a lot, and I said yes, and she said, well, you know, sometimes I don't mind, you know, if you don't mind me coming along. And I said, sure. And that's how we became friends. Just like that. Because in chatting with me, she picked up also something that she would like. She liked to be in my company. You know, and when she asked me that again, I picked up, yes, this is somebody I would like to be friendly with. And that's how we do it.
And the point is, you first have to get yourself in a social situation where you can have
where you could
conversation.
do, yes,
So
where
you
you
have
can
to
have
go
that
out. You have to go out.
and you go to places where you like. And it's simple, you know. I like Terri, and you know, I like plants. So I love to go to a plant show. I just love to go to a plant show. And I remember my cousin, when I moved, told me, look, I have a friend up your side that loves to go to plant show. I will hook you up. She hook us up. And every plant show, she's called, you want to go here? We want to go there. We even did a little course together to learn to make pots and things like that. I didn't know her before. And we are very good friends now.
Yeah.
So, you know, look for people who like the same things like you. And the only way, as Terri said, is to be out there and make the approach.
And I will say, Jennifer, that the look for people is the second step. Because if you look for people, but you didn't engage with people, you will look at superficial traits and characteristics and you won't make any friends. So I think the main thing is to first of all, understand and accept that at this stage in life, for us to enjoy beyond the Jubilee, we cannot expose ourselves to the risk of those very adverse effects of aloneness and isolation if we don't have a network. If we don't have one, we cannot afford to do it. If we don't have a network, it means that we have to now go and make friends. And the first step to make friends is casual friends. And then you do stuff together and you get to know each other. And you do it in a context that is safe and so on. But we have to get rid of all the notions of what putting yourself out there is, because long time putting yourself out there mean that you're looking for something, you're looking for a partner.
And we're talking friends, please.
And we're not talking about that. We're not talking about that.
We're talking about genuine, real
lineman partner,
friendship.
You know, which can emerge into those kinds of things.
Because not everybody have large families. They have those who have a large family and, you know, their family is their tribe. But many don't, and especially when we reach this age in life.
Jennifer, I have many with large families and they're not interested in the family being their friends. So listen.
You have a choice.
We don't talk about things and we don't have a plan. So this has been a discussion about the importance of community and a tribe in the Beyond the Jubilee. So that's the In Tune segment. But we're taking a pause and coming back with another segment where we talk about the solution. So Jennifer, we talking about people must make friends. And they must do this, and they must do that. What are we going to do about it now that we've recognized that this is very
doing what we have? Actually, we have been doing it, but the reality after the pandemic is shown up. I mean, that definitely we have to continue and maybe do it more often, and that is having meetups because you know, Terri, prior to the pandemic, when connections, that's what we started. Connections to connect people together. You know,
we just had a whole set of meetups.
and with that meetup says a lot because the feedback from it. So when you read that article and when we are talking about building friendship, a lot of friendships were created during those different activities that we have had. So what we're going to be doing is continue in that, but in a way too, you know, on purpose.
We're giving you a reason to come out safely. A safe way to come and meet the people. Safe.
So we're creating that environment again for you to come out, and we're going a little further. For those who don't have transport, who would say, you know, I want to come, but I have no transport, or it's too far, and all the reasons, we would arrange safe transport.
We'll
for
hook
you.
you up. We'll hook you up with a stranger who will
Pick
become
you
your
up
friend.
and drop you back. And from the time you reach whatever, we're going to be having different type of activities too. So if you just want to come and sit down and laugh or play a game, or if you just want to do a road trip, we're looking at all different activities like what we did. We just completed around the what was four different things we had.
And that was celebrating our anniversary.
Yeah, for the anniversary. So
Caramel.
those who wanted to go on the tour, those who wanted to just play games, those who wanted to dress up and have dinner, we had it all. So, and those who wanted to do all, did all.
Yes,
So
yes.
we are planning, we're coming on to the quarter, we're in September. So we are saying for the last quarter, definitely, we're going to have an activity each quarter. You could come to all, you could come to some. You know, we have nice small groups, so very intimate. You could really have fun and build that friendship.
Yeah.
And as you said, we're coming to pick you up and dropping you back. You know, we're arranging that.
Yeah.
So we're going to be putting out there what are our activities, yes, Terri Ann, what activities we have for the last 3 months. And and put it out there to you and invite you to, you're welcome to join us as usual and have some fun and meet some friends, because we don't want you to suffer with any sort of loneliness or to get all the list of things that Terri Ann mentioned from the statistics that can happen if you're isolated, you know.
And just to let you know, it's not an event. These are not events. Just to let you know, these are not events. This is not a dinner or this or that. We will be saying to you the date of the best word is line. Caribbean people, you know, line. We will.
I like the meetup because you're meeting.
Meet up the line. We will arrange a
getting together. Yeah.
We will arrange a space, and there will be a minimal cover. And you bring something, and we get together, and we just decide to talk, have fun, share ideas. You might meet someone there who has expertise in a field that you like, and you sit down and line and talk with them. You might play a game. There may be a month where there's a show, something that's going on, and we say, okay, we go into this show. Who wants to join the line to go to this show? And what we are doing is making sure that you have an opportunity to meet people in a safe space.
Yeah.
And even if you make no friends, at least once a month, you come out and you enjoy yourself.
So this is our focus for the next 3 months.
Yes. And to tell you, this is not a worship and jumping. All you will know when you stay tuned to the show is the day and the type of event we're having. Yes. You will have to contact Jennifer and I to get details and to get listed, so you will know where and what time and what arrangements and so on. So your work will be your willingness to pick up the phone and send us a WhatsApp message and say, listen, you see a program for this month? I am in.
Yeah.
That sound like me. Put my name down. And there's it. Your name will be down. Plain and simple. You come out, you will spend 3 to 4 hours with people, with us.
Yeah.
And you have a nice experience. And if the event in the other months you like it, fine. Even if you don't like the event, you might be curious. You might meet somebody different. So CONEC-TIONS is literally laying the foundation and the groundwork to make sure that our tribe does not suffer the effects of isolation that not having friends in your beyond the Jubilee years can cause. And this is open to everybody, men, women, single, married, anybody.
Yep.
You just join.
So yeah, it's not a singles club. Huh? It's nothing like that.
It's not a singles club and it's not a matchmaking club.
Yeah.
If you make a match and your match like, that's not for us, that's outside of us.
We have to emphasize that, yes.
Because many people, I think too, Jennifer, one of the things that causes a lot of us and a lot of us women to not make friends easily is that we are too focused on the purpose of the friendship, especially partnership, and you jump over the acquaintance part of getting to know new people and making friends. And if you meet a member of the opposite sex, your immediate intention is this is for a relationship. It ain't gonna go anywhere. If you meet someone who happens to be a professional or who happens to have some skill, you immediately want to tumble favors into it and questions, and you want to begin to extract services. Those kinds of things don't allow for friendships to develop. So what we're saying is we are just creating environments for you to come, chill out, talk, meet a new person, have an evening laughing. And we try to get the 50 hours. So you'll get a casual friend. If we get the 50 hours, we would have helped someone from getting stroke or dementia or anxiety.
No, but I believe definitely friendships can be formed earlier than that.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
As long as you have the right environment and beautiful people. And we have seen it in all our activities, all the different things we have had. We definitely had seen it. So
and you all have seen the feedback reels.
Yeah.
So our tribe is going to be activated. We are going to make sure that you are all ready for, and just as a reminder, we're going to run a little reel of some of the events that we've had, but these are not events. These are just like get-togethers. And out of
it, and hang out.
We chilling, we hanging out. We'll have a theme and we just run with the theme. And as we said, you will hear when it is, and you might hear the theme, but you have to contact us to say, I'm in or I'm not in. Okay, so Jennifer, what we call in this series of hangouts? The Jubilee Hangouts?
The 5 point, I just like the 5, well, of course, we're keeping the 5.8G in front. So I had said 5.8G meetup. You say 5.8G Lyman, 5.
I want to call it Jubilee
Hangout. Well, this is the month, but we're looking at the entire quarter.
Yeah.
We're looking at October, November, December.
And just a little thing, October is what? Diwali.
Yeah, so I thought it would be nice to have
something else. And
yeah.
Christmas is Christmas. So yeah, you have to line. And I'm sure there'll be all kinds of shows and concerts. I mean, out of this, you have a show going on. We get together to meet up. We do like the young people go into indie paint, rent a maxi, and we all go on the maxi, drop us off. Why we can't do that?
A maxi. It would be a maxi, Terri.
But anyway, that is our plan for making sure that our cohort does not end up with no friends when you end your 5.8G and you're 80 plus. You've got to go into that fourth stage beyond the Jubilee with friends, with people that you can call, even talk. Pick up the telephone and call and say, hi, how you going? What's happening today? You know, there was traffic on the road this morning and I went by Jennifer and we sat down and chill while the traffic went down. You know, you've
So
got
we
to
created a friend circle, a 5.8G friend circle.
absolutely. So, Jennifer, next week we are going to have, because our time is up, we are going to have another fantastic guest as we continue talking about people sharing their stories about their transition and what they're up to now. But running parallel to that will be this little friend circle, this lineman circle that we're going to create. So see you next week. Have a great time. Make some friends. Bye. Great.
#50 Plus Tribe and followers from Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean.
Thank you for joining us on this Connections 50 Plus 5.8G Alive show.
We hope you enjoyed the lively conversation and look forward to seeing you next week.
Don't forget to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
We really love getting your feedback. Bye for now.